Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning, children. So I hope you would have read your textbook. I hope you would have understood the introduction part which is given in your textbook. So today let us move on to the next part of the chapter. But before we move on to the chapter, let us first go through an information given in your textbook and also an activity which is given, right? And then we will move on to our today's topic. So in the last class we saw how multicellular organisms or how unicellular organisms are formed, and where does the cell comes from, and we also studied about the division of labor, and we studied about the importance of organelles right inside the cell. So now let us see this information and then we'll move on to our today's topic. So cells were first discovered by, we know that it was Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Okay, and how did he observe this? He observed the cell in a cork slice with the help of a primitive microscope. Primitive microscope means a very simple microscope. Okay, primitive എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പണ്ടുണ്ടായ മൈക്രോസ്കോപ്പ് എന്നുള്ള അർത്ഥം. And after Robert Hooke, it was Leeuwenhoek. Okay, it was Leeuwenhoek with the improved microscope discovered the free living cells in pond body for the first time. Okay, Robert Hooke discovered cell, and it was Leeuwenhoek who first discovered free living cells in pond water. Okay, പോണ്ടിലുള്ള വെള്ളം എടുത്ത് അതിലുള്ള സാമ്പിൾസിന് he were able to find some free living cells. Okay, and he saw this through the improved microscope. And then it was Robert Brown in the year 1831 who discovered that nucleus in the cell. So it was Robert Brown. So Robert Hooke, he just discovered the cell. Only after the discovery of the Robert Brown, people learned about the nucleus in the cell. So it was Robert Brown in the year 1831 who discovered the nucleus in the cell. Okay, and then comes the next person. It was in the year 1839. So a person called as Perkins first coined the term which is called as protoplasm. So Perkins in year 1839 coined the term protoplasm. What is protoplasm? It is the cytoplasm and the nucleus together. The living component of the cell is called as protoplasm. Okay, so he coined the term which is called as protoplasm. Coined means he was the first one to name it, right? And to which part of the cell did he name as protoplasm? For the liquid substance of the cell, that is cytoplasm together with nucleus. Okay, and then the cell theory that all plants and animals are composed of the cell and the cell is the basic unit of life was first presented by two biologists. ഇപ്പോൾ സെല്ലാണ് എല്ലാ ഓർഗാനിസംസിൻ്റെയും ബേസിക് യൂണിറ്റ് എന്ന് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്ത രണ്ട് ബയോളജിസ്റ്റാണ് these people. So they are the one who formulated the cell theory. Okay, so they are Schleiden in the year 1838 and the other one is Schwann in the year 1839. Schleiden and Schwann. Okay, so these two are the one who first presented that all the plant and animal cells, plant and animal body are composed of cells and that the cell is the basic unit of life. Okay, and the cell theory was further expanded. So in the year 1838 and 1839 they formulated cell theory, and this cell theory was further expanded by Virchow, and this was in the year 1855. And how did he expand? He expanded by suggesting that all the cells arise from pre-existing cells. ഒരു പുതിയ സെൽ ഫോം ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം ഇറ്റ് വുഡ് ഹാവ് കം ഫ്രം ദ പ്രീ എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് സെൽ. അതിൻ്റെ മുമ്പേ ഒരു മദർ സെൽ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, ആൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് മദർ സെൽ വുഡ് ഹാവ് ഡിവൈഡ് to form this new cell. Okay, and with the discovery of the electron microscope in 1940, it was possible to observe and understand the complex structure of the cell and its various organelles. Right? So I told you only after the discovery of Robert Hooke, there was not much development in the microscope and to study about cell and all. So all those was possible only after 1940, because only after the formation of this electron microscope, they studied about the complex structure of the cell and its various organelles. Okay, so this is a little piece of information. You have to keep these things in your mind. This is very important part in your biology. It is a history which says about the cell. Now let us see an activity which was given in your textbook. It is activity 5.2. So we tried the onion peel temporary mound, right? So we can try preparing temporary mounds of leaf peel, tip of roots of onion, or even peels of onion of different sizes. You can take any of this and we can do the temporary mounds. Okay, so after you finish all these all these by doing the experiment, try to answer all these. They are asking you to answer all these. Let us see that. Anyway, we are not in lab and we are not able to do that, but we have seen how the onion peel looks like when we see it under the microscope, and why is it so, and what is present there. Everything I just told you, right? So using that, let us find the answers for that. First one is, do all cells look alike in terms of shape and size? ഒരു ലിവിങ് ഓർഗാനിസമിൻ്റെ ശരീരത്തിലുള്ള എല്ലാ സെൽസും, എല്ലാ തരത്തിലുള്ള സെൽസും they are asking whether it will be alike in the terms of shape and size. അവരുടെ രൂപത്തിലും അവരുടെ സൈസിലും they are asking whether any change will be there, or they are asking whether it was similar to one another. Okay, so as we all know, yes, the cells will never look alike. Okay, so they differ in the shape and size, right? So cells, they differ in their shape and size when it comes to these two terms. Now see the next question. Do all cells look alike in structure? No, it is also not correct. Not all the cells will be alike in the structure. Okay, third one. Would we find differences among cells from different parts of the plant body? Yes, we will be able to observe the differences among the cells between the different parts of the plant body. So if they take from the root portion, if they take from the stem portion, we can easily understand it by viewing it under the microscope. Okay, we will be able to find differences among the different cells from different parts of the plant. It won't be same. Okay, because everyone carries out different function. So their cell structure, their shape and size also will be differing. Now coming to the last one, what similarities would we find? And the similarities are ഒരു ഓണിയൻ പീലിലും then ഒരു ലീഫ് പീലിലും അതുപോലെ ടിപ്പ് ഓഫ് റൂട്ടിലും നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്, the similarity which we see is that the presence of the cell wall will be there. Right, so cell walls presence will be there, and along with that we will be able to find green color structures in the green color structures in the plant's body if we take the different parts of the plant. And along with that, the other similarities which we find is as like cell wall, cell membrane will be there, and the nucleus and cytoplasm will be visible. So these are the similarities which we would find in the cell. Okay, so other than that, if we view it under the electron microscope, we will be able to find different organelles also, right? So this is about activity 5.2, children. They're just asking questions of how these cells will look like in different terms. Okay, now let us move on to the next part. So we are going to start with the next one, that is, what is cell made up of, and what is the structural organization of a cell? Cell എന്തിനെ കൊണ്ടാണ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ളത്, and what is the structural organization? അതിനൊരു രൂപം, എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും കിട്ടുന്നത് എങ്ങനെയാണ്? What are the essential things inside that cell? So cell has a special component called as components which is called as organelles. We studied about it, right? So every cell will contain number of organelles. So cells have special components called organelles. Okay, how is the cell organized? Now we are moving on to the next question. How is the cell organized? എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് organized ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്? If we study the cell under microscope, we can come across three features in almost every cell. That is plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. So all activities inside the cell and interaction of the cell with the environment are possible due to these features. Okay, അപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് സെൽ ഓർഗനൈസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള we can find three important features in all these cells. Okay, every cell will have three important features. So the first one is the plasma membrane. The outermost covering is the plasma membrane. Then comes the nucleus, the central portion, and then the fluid portion, which is the cytoplasm. And all the activities inside the cell and interaction of the cell with its surrounding are possible due to these features. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഈ സെല്ലിനോട് സറൗണ്ടിങ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസിനെ സഹായിക്കുന്നത്? ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഡ്യൂ ടു ദി features which they have. So all activities inside the cell and interactions of the cell with its environment are possible due to these features. Okay, now let us move on to the next part. So first we will learn about plasma membrane or cell membrane. So which are the three different features of the cell? They are the plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. So this is the nucleus, this is the outer structure which is the plasma membrane, and then the inner part is the cytoplasm. Right, now let us learn about the first part of the cell, which is the plasma membrane or cell membrane. Okay, so let us learn it and then we will move on to the next part. So outermost covering of the cell that separates the content of the cell from its external environment is the plasma membrane. So plasma membrane എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് this outermost surface is the plasma membrane. അപ്പോൾ അതിന്ന് പുറത്ത് if you see the environment which is surrounding the plasma membrane, it is visible that this plasma membrane is the one who separates the other components of the cell from the external environment. ഇവരെ ചുറ്റിലുള്ള എൻവിറോൺമെന്റിന് ഇവരെ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ ആരെ സഹായിക്കുന്നത്? ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ദ പ്ലാസ്മ മെംബ്രെയിൻ. Okay, so outermost covering of the cell that separates the content of the cell from its external environment is the plasma membrane. And what is the function of plasma membrane? It allows or permits the entry and exit of materials in and out of the cell. So what does it do? It will allow or permit the entry and exit of some materials. The plasma membrane എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സെല്ലിന്റെ outermost covering, they will have spaces which allow entry of very limited substances. Okay, so it allows or permits the entry of some substances in and out of the cell. And not only that, it also prevents movement of some other material. So it will not allow all the materials to pass through it. Okay, അത് പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് ചില മെറ്റീരിയൽസിനെ മാത്രമേ കടത്തി ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് വിടുള്ളൂ, അതുപോലെ പുറത്തേക്കും വിടുള്ളൂ. And it also prevents movement of some other material.